Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you in this beautiful Wisconsin weather. It's not snowing, so we're all okay. My name is Bridget O'Connor, and I'm with O'Connor Connective, and I'm thrilled to be a communication representative with the Mulva Cultural Center project. We have a wonderful presentation for you today to be able to share with you an update on where the project is. You're going to get to hear some really good information, how the scope of the project continues to expand. You're going to get to see some images, some early conceptual renderings of the project, and you're going to get to hear specifically and directly from Jim and Miriam about what they have done as it relates to selecting a world-renowned architect. So with that, I would also share that we'll have an opportunity for each member of the panel to speak, and following that, we'll take some questions from the media. We'll then make available a flash drive with images for you. We also have a website that is just about to go live that you'll be able to have access to. And then we'll also make individual interviews available for you following the presentation. And we'll take those one at a time. Okay? With that, I would like to begin this morning by introducing Miriam Mulva, who will share a bit of the vision behind this outstanding project.
Good morning. I'm very excited today to announce the Mulva Cultural Center. For a little background, my husband Jim and I are De Pere natives. We grew up here, we had a wonderful childhood, and after graduating from college, we moved for 45 years to work with Phillips and ConocoPhillips. And during that time, we came back every year to visit family and friends. And for the last 15 years, I have been on the St. Norbert College board, and during that time, we have made a lot of new friends. So it was only natural when Jim retired that we would want to return to our hometown. So we were very excited about doing that 4 years ago, and we built a home here. We also built a condo out in Austin, Texas, because we had lived in Oklahoma and Texas for over 35 years when Jim was working for Phillips and ConocoPhillips. Jim also attended University of Texas, and so it was natural for us to return to Austin, where we also have a son living, and we have a son here as well, which is very exciting. So for a little more about background is that we were asked 4 years ago to help with the De Pere Historical Society to expand their building, and we thought we would get an expert that is an expert in building museums and talk to him. And we knew someone from the United Kingdom because he had built heritage museums for Conoco and for Phillips at the time that Phillips and Conoco combined to make a company, ConocoPhillips. So he came to De Pere and he looked around. He loved the city. And he said that he thought the best place to build something would be on the site as you come across the bridge from West De Pere. He also said that there's a new paradigm in museums these days, and that is traveling exhibits. And traveling exhibits are interactive. There's a lot going on. They're usually between 10 and 12, they can be up to 10 and 12,000 square feet. And so that was something that we were pretty excited about and decided that that would be what we would look into. So we're very committed to bringing this state-of-the-art, world-class arts and cultural center to De Pere. We did form a De Pere Cultural Foundation board, and that board, several of the members are here today, and they have been very helpful in our vision going forward, and so has the city. The city has been absolutely wonderful to work with throughout the project. It was important to wait until the master plan was adopted by the city last year before proceeding with the Mulva Cultural Center, so it took a little bit of extra time since we first announced that we were going to go forward with this. This will provide a roadmap to present to the city for approval of this world-class anchor for their plan. As the city plans emerged, our vision for the cultural center expanded, and so what began as a smaller idea for a simple place for sharing cultural experiences has grown in scope and magnitude, and also in impact. So today we are in the planning phases of a $50 million building that is a gift from us to the city of De Pere.
So as Miriam indicated, we started on this project several years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and it just grew and expanded in scope and size and became more and more exciting. Through the process, we worked very closely with Mayor Walsh, the city administrator, Larry Dilo, the city planner, Kim Palm, and then to the extent that we needed to and wanted, we also worked and received a lot of support by the city council. So it's taken us a number of years, but I can tell you that the recent action and study work by the city for the Arts and Cultural District is absolutely critical to our interest, and believe it's well coordinated with the Mulva Cultural Center. So all of that work has been very supportive, helpful, and critically important to us in announcing the Mulva Center. So, because of the scope and size, we also want to do things really in the right way that fits in the community. But we want it to not only fit in the community, but we want it to be something very unique, not just for northeastern Wisconsin and De Pere, but to attract a lot of attention and interest for economic development for the northeastern Wisconsin. And so we interviewed a number of world-renowned architects, and it was very clear to us that SOM out of Chicago was absolutely the right one, the right kind of architectural design, engineering firm that could do the type of project that was so unique for what it is that we wanted to do. So I'm going to pass on their work, their conceptual work, and they will develop and show you renderings. But I want to introduce two important partners from SOM. They're partners in the worldwide firm. They work out of Chicago. And Scott Duncan on my far right and Adam Semmel, who's sitting over here, are the two partners that we work most closely with. So Scott is going to give you some of the background and where we stand at this point in time with respect to development architecturally and the design and engineering of the Mulva Center. So Scott.
Thanks, Jim. So I get to do the fun part. I think this is all fun. In fact, I mean, it's a great day, but we get to share our first thoughts with the world, with De Pere and beyond, for the Cultural Center. And I should point out, these are conceptual designs, so I know it's tempting to look and start to ask questions about specifics, but we're really not there yet. When Jim and Miriam came to us and asked if we would consider designing their cultural center, we immediately said yes. We're a Chicago-based firm working all over the world. But a project like this is transformational, and the story of what it can do for De Pere is really monumental. And I think through the process that we've gone through of developing the first ideas for the center, we've come up with something that I think is pretty special, what hopefully will be a catalyst for the cultural community in De Pere's larger kind of regional network, not just within the city limits here, but something that will resonate probably globally. And the kind of key concepts that together we've developed are centered around two themes. The first is about activity, that the changing exhibitions and the nature of the kinds of performances or meetings or events that will happen here will bring vibrance and activity to De Pere, particularly this side of the river, and begin to activate things. So this activity is something that's unique, and we thought was something that should really drive the expression of the architecture. The second concept is transparency. So I'll show you the images in a minute. But hope it's obvious that we wanted to make that activity immediately apparent to people who were just driving by, who were coming to De Pere for the first time, that the activity inside the building by way of the architecture was to be made visible from the outside. And similarly, being on the bend in the river and thinking about the adjacent buildings in the neighborhood through the height of the building. It's a 3-story building. I'll reveal a little bit. We get some pretty fantastic views on the river corridor itself. So, the building, you have St. Norbert's on one side and its kind of internal skyline, and we hope to begin to create a beacon or a destinational landmark on the roundabout. So with that, I will turn the boards around. And I hope the audio will be able to be picked up. So starting first with the exterior. And hopefully you begin to understand how the activity of the interior of the building is immediately apparent, even if you're not visiting the center on that day. So we're standing more or less at the roundabout. We've come over the bridge and Broadway is to our left, and we know the site, which is a kind of parking lot with the tree on it at that point. You'll see this. So it's a building that has a high degree of kind of visual activity in the form of these balconies. One looking out over the river, others within the atrium, so that the activity of, let's say, the traveling exhibition and all of the people that are coming to visit that can be at one in a singular volume with ground floor here exhibits. At the top level, we're planning a multiple kind of function destination space. So events can be held there. We've talked about many different things that can be happening in that uppermost level, perhaps in conjunction with some of the exhibits that happen on the traveling exhibitions that Miriam mentioned on the interior, or maybe not. It's again a very flexible interior environment, but has this kind of cascade of stairs and out sitting areas that are giving you those elevated views over the river and the neighborhood. So we know, and we're reminded many times through the process, that the weather in De Pere is not always great. And I think today is an example of that. I mean, Chicago, we suffer with many of the same things. So the interior of the center is meant to feel like a living room that's comfortable in all seasons. So this is a view inside that main atrium space. Again, looking out the river would be just beyond the trees here and the bridge over here. But it has a feeling of being connected to the outdoors without being outside. So it does have a kind of seamlessness of the interior of the center to the exterior. You'll notice we have some ideas about artwork in the grounds around. There'll be a great deal of improvement of the kind of garden areas around the building. So it truly feels like a civic building. And that transparency that I talked about before helps connect you from the inside to the outside throughout. We were talking about this as almost De Pere's living room. We talked about that there'll be a cafe and so on at the ground level, so the ability for people to come and visit really at any time of day. I'll just point to finally the image here, which is kind of the view as if you were coming down Wisconsin. So the roundabout is just off to the right here. And I point to this because it's important given this building siting and the fact that the approaches really vary. Sometimes you're looking at the building from the bridge or the St. Norbert side, sometimes coming from these different angles. The building have really no back, no front. That it's a building that is really facing all directions. And so that remains an important driver, I think, for us as we think about the design going forward. So there is a lot more information, I think, with the website, as was mentioned before. But with that, I will hand it over to Mayor Walsh.
Thank you, Scott. Really, before we get going with my remarks, I'd just like to congratulate Jim and Miriam for becoming grandparents in the past few days. Bouncing baby girl, and as Jim and Miriam both brought out, and they've said all along, they wanted to be able to get this right, and it's taken a while. It's been a long journey, but it's been a fruitful one. I think what you see today bears that out. We started very small, and it morphed into what you see today, but as Scott said too, it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. We've worked together on this for quite a while, and the city of De Pere is continually striving to build a vibrant and forward-thinking future. The Mulva Cultural Center embodies that spirit, and we look forward to this world-class addition to our city. The full scope of this project will both inspire and transform our region culturally and artistically for generations to come. It will also provide a significant opportunity to enrich and grow our community as a whole. We envision that it will attract visitors from all over the state of Wisconsin, the surrounding states, and from all over the country. This will provide a boon for our historic downtown and for our businesses. I have been chomping at the bit ever since Jim and Miriam first presented this idea to me, and it has been enthralling to watch their vision of this project grow from its infancy. We are very excited that today is the plan reveal, and we eagerly await the official start and especially the completion of the Mulva Cultural Center in downtown De Pere. On a more personal nature, I'd just like to say that I've known Jim since grade school, which doesn't say much for either one of us, does it? And Miriam was actually a championship swimmer when we were kids, and I know she can probably take any one of us yet today. So I've known them or known of them for quite a few years. But it has been an absolute pleasure to have been able to work together with them on this project. They epitomize what De Pere is all about, and I am so proud and happy that this is their hometown. So today, we are very grateful and very excited. The premier talent, dreams, and ideas that will be showcased here in future exhibits will provide a world-renowned attraction for our city and a beautiful gathering place for both our residents and guests of De Pere. We are immensely grateful to be considered as a location for such an impactful development, and look forward to working with the Mulva family and Cultural Foundation in order to make this project move forward. Jim and Miriam, thank you so much for your tremendous gift to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you for those nice comments. And we've been working very hard for the last several years, but the real hard work starts now. And we work very closely with SOM as well as with the city and all the constituencies in the community. For a schedule, what we have in mind is coming to the city and the city council with with request for approval about this time next year. In other words, all the design, engineering, of all that you see the initial concepts here. About a year from now, we come for detailed approval, at which time in the spring, summer of 2020, we start construction. And then in the summertime of about 2022 is when we start up. So that gives you kind of a schedule that we're working towards. It's not 5 years away, a lot of work, but coming to the to the city council for approval about this time next year. So, Miriam, you have a few closing comments?
Well, we wanted this center to be for everyone, young and old, fat and thin. And we wanted it to be for everybody, and so that was one of our goals. We think of De Pere as kind of like the jewel on the fox. I mean, we loved it here growing up, and so there was really no question in our mind to come back here after Jim's retirement. So yeah, we just want this to be for everybody. And just a little bit more about the traveling exhibits. I don't know if you're really familiar with these, but these are things that are maybe offered in Milwaukee, Chicago, Minneapolis, but nothing in between. And they're very large. There's things like dinosaurs and 101 greatest inventions. What else?
Titanic,
Civil War. There's just all kinds of things like that. So it should be very exciting and intellectually stimulating for people of all ages.
And it'll be varied, in some cases a large exhibit and a small exhibit at the same time. And it will have art, it will have history, documentation, social things, just to grow and develop the interest and curiosity of all ages of the community. And we also think if we do this really well, it's not just for the community, but those who visit our community and moving in through the northeastern Wisconsin. So Bridget.
And we believe that, we're here on this earth for each other. And so this is what we're trying to do, is do things for everybody.
Good, Bridget?
Yes. Well, pretty exciting day. So thank you again for all for the media to be able to ask a few questions if you'd like in a group setting, and after a few questions then we'll break so that you can ask them individually. Any collective questions from the group? You want your own. And they want to hook up the audio. Okay, great. Then I'll just close by saying Kim Flom with the city is going to pull up on this screen the website that is now available. So you can also find it on your phones and race back to your computers to be able to look at these images again and again. This is mulvaculturalcenter.com. On this website, we will make available any new information as it is available. You'll also find today's news release on this project is on that website. Do feel free to contact myself or my colleagues. Michelle and Todd are here from O'Connor Connective, and we will be the media conduit on this project throughout the development and the various different stages of the project. So with that, also know that there are copies of the press release on the way out, and if you have not captured a flash drive, we have those for you as well with the images. Thank you everyone for coming, and please join me in thanking the Mulvas for this incredible gift to De Pere. Scott will stay in this room near the renderings and be able to answer questions, and then Jim and Miriam we're going to take to the stairwell here so you have this lovely view of the river behind them. So feel free we'll have Jim and Miriam over in this area, and then Scott and Mayor if you'd like to be here for questions as well.
We also have several board members of our Cultural Foundation board here today, and so I think they'd be very happy to answer any questions as well.
If you are a board member, would you please stand up? Thank you all for being here. So they are also Thank you. Thank you all.